Matty has left a broken bottle in the freezer.
Nice.
Can't wait to eat some hash browns and find glass. I think both Jens and Paul, your mic aren't working.
No, mine should definitely be working. I can. I don't know what was going on yesterday. I couldn't hear you boys. Find your switch.
Can I get a radio check as well, please?
For what is it, Ned?
Could you hear me?
Yeah.
So I'll go over it a bit again as well when we get closer to the racing with more people in. But as yesterday, I will also be doing race control for this. Connor will be as well, but I'll be the one trying to find the incident. If anything happens, do try and let me know. Just come on the radio. Don't come on the radio just shouting, calling someone an idiot. Just come and tell me something happened and who it happened with. I'll try and take a look.
You guys be doing wave arounds on this one because I've never played with wave arounds before, so I'm aware.
Yeah, we will have wave rounds. We're going to try and do it a bit better than yesterday, try and have it that everyone gets waved around at the same time. We're still figuring this out.
Well, it's a lot nicer because I can actually hear you both this time, whereas yesterday I couldn't hear you.
morning, good afternoon, and good evening. We are live, finally. Sorry, we are running a little bit late. So the session did kickstart about 20 minutes later than scheduled today. But we are back at Watkins Glen for what I'm going to call round two. We've got some familiar drivers that were in yesterday's session joining us today. For this session, but it's going to be the same format, so we're going to have 45 minutes of practice, 15 minutes quali, and a 60-minute race with limited fuel, which requires a pit stop during the race, so again mixes things up for that short format race. But yeah, I'm joined here with Jacob Reed, also known as BurnoutRacing7 on Twitch and TikTok as well. Go and drop him a follow as he regularly streams iRacing content in the evenings UK time. But yeah, currently in practice at the moment. Few people are joining, getting used to the track, getting familiar faces. We have Duncan Andrews again, who put up that stellar defence yesterday and managed to bring that home in, I think, P10, I believe it was yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think he had a pretty good defence right at the end. Unfortunately, I believe it was on the last lap he did cause an incident which ended up giving him a penalty and dropping him some places. But
yes, Nico, we are live on Twitch as well. If you want the full experience, head on over there, drop me a follow as well over on that channel. I just realised we also need our overlay up on screen as well. Let me just quickly grab that. Sorry, a little bit unprepared today. So yeah, today's session is going to be a fully race-controlled session. Myself and Jacob will be stewarding the race, whilst trying to also share some of the action that's happening on track with you. So you have to bear with us as we sort of skip back and look through replays to kind of observe what's going on around the track as well. As we are just kind of following the leader of Fabian Schluter, who's currently set at 1:43.7, so not as quick as the times that we were seeing yesterday during practice. I think we were seeing low 1:43.1s in yesterday's session from a couple of 4K drivers. So Fabian Schultz is a Schluter, should I say, is a 6K driver. Currently topping the leaderboard at the moment, 1:43.7.
yeah, interesting choice in the Mustang. So recently, since the BOP updates, a lot of people have been kind of writing off the Mustang in terms of its performance in open setup races, but I'm seeing a few more of them appearing now. And interesting that Fabian's also coming in with that as well, so maybe a bit of a Ford re-emergence coming up.
Yep, I think a lot of the time as well when it comes to these hosted sessions, a lot of people sort of don't think there's a bop involved. We are using the IMSA bop that was from I believe 2 weeks ago, so there is weight limits and restrictions on some of these cars, and I think a lot of people are familiar with the fact that the Mustang is one of the quicker cars without bop, right?
I'm afraid I'm going to correct you there. IMSA does not run a BOP in terms of car performance, just a fuel BOP. So the session is running IMSA fuel BOP rather than any weight limitations.
I stand corrected. And it's good to know for the future. So yeah, a lot of people still in the pits. Session's slowly building up. We've got about 18 drivers registered for the session. 13 drivers have set times. Let's take a look, see who's on track.
I'm thinking maybe we follow our good friend Mini Max Verstappen out trying to learn the track at the moment.
Yeah, I think he probably was taking a peek at what was going on yesterday in the front runners in yesterday's session with the 296. I don't think I've actually seen Jens driving the 296.
I don't believe I have. He seems to be getting on with it fairly well. With the new traction control updates that have been put out on Tuesday, these cars are a bit more stable on the exit, and the Ferrari sometimes is having issue with that, I found. It's still, as Jens just demonstrates there, going wide with an aggressive setup, can be a bit rotaty on entry, which if you get it working right, it's very good. If you get it working wrong, you're in a wall.
So yeah, I know we went over this yesterday, but just for the people watching today, and obviously the drivers that are in today's sessions, we're just watching the BMW in the background, the Rover BMW going off track there. What do you reckon the challenge is going to be today? I mean, we've got the same weather setup as we were running yesterday. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's just managing the traffic. You know, we're going to have a lot of different iRacing drivers here, a lot of different levels of pace. So, and also some people who may not necessarily be that familiar with the track, sharing the track with people who are probably quite familiar. So I think that's where we're going to see the most amount of carnage.
Yep, so we have made a little format change from yesterday, and we have put a iRating cap at the moment on 1,200 iRating in order to participate in this session. I think there was a little bit of sort of chaos towards the back of the field yesterday with some of the sort of sub 1k drivers, causing a little bit of havoc for the people who were looking for a clean race.
Yeah, it's one of those. Sometimes you might be kind of trying to be very inclusive, wanting to let anyone drive, but there comes a point where some people, like I said yesterday to one of them, just need to go back to test drive and actually learn the track and learn to drive before jumping into a race like that.
Yeah, and I think that's as well why we've gone with this format of 45 minutes of practice before the 15 quali and the 1 hour race, just to give the drivers that time on track to at least kind of become familiar with it, and then hopefully be able to start exploring how far they can push the car during the race. As we watch Jens lose the rear coming out of the pits. Yeah, we all know Jens is very familiar with the old cold tyres.
Yeah, we have some stories about Jens and cold tyres from his first endurance race with us, but you know, we can't slate him too much. We still got P2, but yeah, something he still needs to learn, it seems.
As he does just tow back to the pits there, just to avoid getting in anyone's way. So, session time, got 17 minutes left in practice. Like the time flies as well. I think it also gives us time to sort of get our bearings before we jump into the session ourselves. It seems to go quite quickly, this practice sessions. Good afternoon all, just to let you know there is 15 minutes left of practice. We're going to be jumping into a 15-minute open qualifying session after this. So obviously it's a slightly different format to what you'd be used to during normal qualifying, followed by a 60-minute race. There is a fuel cap on the cars, meaning that there is a mandatory pit stop during the race. We are also shooting this race with black flags, safety cars, yellow flags where needed. So anybody causing havoc and incidents will be issued drive-through penalties throughout the race. There is unlimited fast repairs as well, so if you do get damage, it's not the end of the race. Yellow flags will come out safety car will come out, you'll be able to get the wave by and rejoin the back of the pack without losing too much. So just be aware of that, guys. We're also streaming over on Refined Motorsport, which is on Twitch and TikTok and YouTube if you do want to follow along with the commentary, race control, and see the race from a different perspective as well. We also have a Discord. The link for the Discord will be in the description of this session. If you go and take a look at that, there's a couple of drivers that are already in the Discord if you want to come and join them. But yeah, enjoy the race, guys, and let's try to keep it clean. So yeah, just have a look through the times at the moment, seeing how many familiar faces that we have from yesterday. It seems to be a lot of sub A-class drivers. I mean, yesterday we did see quite a lot of A-class drivers on the timings. There's quite a few Bs, got quite a few Cs in here, which is a little bit of a mix-up. So it could be, again, a sort of new format to a lot that might not be used to those sort of standard official IMSA races that you see where they have that mandatory pit stop and are dealing with those sort of cold tyres throughout that full outlap from the pace car before the green light.
Yeah. Well, they'll probably make it more entertaining. We'll see whether these people are C licensed for a reason or they just haven't got quite up there to their A license.
As we watch, let's say, Barahona losing the car coming into sector 3. Just a little heads up as well, your mic is a little bit quiet.
That is because I'm eating. I keep on moving.
Oh, right, yeah. That's cool. I actually checked how many people are in the Discord. Oh, I think everyone left. Yeah, Duncan said that he was unable to stick around for this one, so he has backed out of the session.
Shame. I wanted to see more of that defensive driving from him.
Yeah, it was definitely an entertaining watch yesterday. So current lap times on the board, we've got Fabian Schluter with a 1:43.5, he's now gone 2 tenths quicker, still holding that P1 spot, followed by David Greenberg, who we are currently following through the broadcast at the moment, who's actually just gone quickest with a 1:43.4.
And then pulls over into the pits. I don't know if he was doing a quali run then.
Yeah, that could have been a low fuel quali run. But again, still 3 tenths off the pace that we were seeing from the top runners yesterday.
Yeah, I don't think there's any difference in track conditions. You know, we're running the same setup as yesterday. Track temp still, for me, showing 25 degrees.
Yeah, so we have an 18 degree air temp, 25 degree track temp. Very light winds, completely dry obviously, no rain. I think it'd be really cool to run a sort of transitional session at some point. See how the drivers manage that dry to wet or even wet to dry. I think wet to dry is all kind of sometimes a little bit more trickier to sort of manage, knowing when to come in. Because you get very familiar on the wet tyres before making that decision to box the drives.
Yeah, especially when you have that dry line appearing where it might be faster to come out on dries, but as soon as you stray off that line, you just got to aquaplane off into the wall. Something that can actually be really interesting in multi-class racing as well, just because of the fact you're having to go offline so often.
So yeah, we're just approaching the final 10 minutes of practice. Anybody that is on the stream that wants to participate in this race, feel free to come and join. The session name is Refined Motorsport, and it's the Watkins Glen GT. There is no password on the session. There are still spots available if you are wanting to come and participate. We've got 15 minutes of quali coming up, followed by a 1 hour race. You need to be over 1200 I rating to participate.
An interesting thing with the length of this session and the amount of fuel that you're allowed is the fuel tanks, well, the amount of fuel that you're allowed to take into this race isn't quite enough to make it to 30 minutes. So you're very dependent on safety cars coming out. If, which to be honest I'm doubting by field spread, but if we end up having a very clean race, people will have to jump into the pits at the end of the race and take a little bit extra fuel, or they'll have to fuel save. So it'll be interesting to see whether anyone tries to fuel save just to kind of counteract that risk. But I think it's probably a pretty low percentage chance we're not getting a safety car this race.
Yeah, especially with the I rating experience on track as well, the I rating differences.
Yeah. David also asking in chat what the fuel cap is. I don't know specifically in litres. It is the IMSA fuel cap because it's a percentage.
So it's 50% range. I think most cars are 50 litres. I think there is a couple that I believe are like 65 litres. I can't remember which ones those are, but if you're in the session at the moment and you try and put fuel in the car, it will cap out at the limit. As we have just watched Jose Barona slide that car into that Mustang into the wall. Yeah, I think Jens is always one to watch as well. We know that he's a very quick driver, but I think it's still not quite there in terms of consistency and racecraft in iRacing.
I think he can do it when he wants to.
Yeah,
he can do it when he wants to. There's a little bit of that Max Verstappen in him, where he will just send the moves. And whilst that can work sometimes, other times that ends up with you in a wall. So it'll be interesting to see how he plays this one, whether he's going to try play it safe, especially because he knows we're watching him. He knows if he does anything stupid, I'm going to be right in there with the black flag as we just watch that BMW miss turn one completely and go straight to the barrier.
Yeah, I think he was trying to get up the inside of some slower traffic there.
Yeah, that's one way of doing it.
It definitely didn't work out for him.
Yeah.
I must admit, I would love to hear Jens on the radio in a black flag situation.
I'm not gonna be kind to him just because he's on our team. Like, if he's doing anything stupid, he's getting the black flag, and he knows that. So let's see how he approaches this.
As Huang dives back into the pits for an unsafe pit exit, crossing the yellow line that runs round turn one as you come out of this pits. And it's one of those kind of tricky. I wouldn't say it's tricky, but it's one that can catch you off guard, because obviously you want to open up turn two by getting obviously over to the left to maximise your car. But yeah, you have to kind of stay right for quite some time before the end of that yellow line before you can cross over. So Louis Groulon at 1:43.2 has taken the P1 spot away from David Greenberg. 2 tenths quicker, so yeah, 0.267 faster than David Greenberg. But it's practice. We're going to probably see a lot of sort of maxed out driving in qualifying. People pushing the car to the limit. Obviously, we're not going with that sort of standard 2-lap qualifying 8-minute session that you usually see through IMSA races. This is a full 15-minute open qualifying. I think one thing that we need to look out for in terms of stewarding and race control is impeding during qualifying as well. And make note of that to essentially issue maybe penalties come the green flag during the race. So Yuang really struggling there, going into last sector, loses his rear wing.
So yeah, I think we'll obviously keep an eye on it in qualifying, but there is also part of it is not just on the driver in front, it's on the driver behind, making sure you have that gap in qualifying. You know, it's something which I think a lot of people in iRacing lose that respect for, of, you know, getting the gap, finding a place on track, just because all the races now, you get the track to yourself and you just get 2 laps to fully send it. Go back to my ACC days in LFM, all of those qualifying sessions were open. It was a battlefield out there to make sure you have enough space on the track. And if you're catching a faster car and that car is going to end up slowing you down, a lot of the time that's actually your fault. You didn't leave enough of a gap.
Yeah, sorry, apologies guys, I just realised that the standings weren't being displayed on the broadcast, so hopefully now it makes it a little bit easier to see and track what's going on. One thing I really wish iRacing would do is, I know that I can remove it with the space bar, but obviously clicking around it brings it back, is being able to actually position that that top menu bar in iRacing.
I feel like,
just
is there not a way of doing that?
No, you can Alt K and move all your other widgets around,
But not the top one.
but not the top one. I wanted to see
I have to have a
maybe
look
the
into it,
conflict
because there are
to,
people who broadcast it who don't have it. There's probably a way somewhere, but, you know, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, this is only our sort of second broadcast as well, so we are still figuring out the best way to sort of manage and run things. Again, we're just making small changes at a time, seeing what works, what doesn't. I have been working on a new tool to help with some of the broadcast graphics, to be able to track things a little bit easier, because unfortunately you guys don't get the full picture of what we see on our timing boards during this race. David Greenberg has gone quicker in the last sector than he has previously. Is he gonna put in a P1 lap here, or no, stays P? Oh no, he does. He goes P1 with the 1:43.1. So we are seeing people now into the 43.1s. Still yet to see those top sort of 0.1% drivers hitting the 42s yet.
I feel like surely it's going to happen at some point. Like, a lot of the official sessions that you see at Watkins Glen are a lot hotter than this. We've really given these drivers the best conditions they could be asking for at Watkins. So if they're going to be setting good times, it's here. You know, most of the time you're looking 35 degrees C plus track temp here, sometimes up into the 40s, mid 40s, and with 18 degree air temp and only 25 degree track temp. This is the opportunity they have right here to really go and set some good times.
Yeah, and I think what I really like is that sort of flexibility that iRacing kind of gives you to be able to like manipulate the track temperature. So yes, while you can directly set the air temperature, you can manipulate the track temperature by producing a little bit of sort of cloud cover over the track, which essentially stops the track from sort of reaching that direct sunlight temperature. You can also control it with some of the humidity as well, which I think we're running about 25% humidity today for this session.
Yeah, so whilst it's not fully optimal track conditions, this is pretty close. So we should be seeing some good times here. I think in the races next week, whilst I'm not sure what the temperature's going to be, I wouldn't be surprised if we're not seeing people break into the 43s. We're probably going to be actually looking at the top times being 44s.
Yeah, I think that's also always an interesting one, is when you look at the sort of times that you see on some of these other platforms like Garage 61, and you look at the sort of top times that are on there. You're always seeing that sort of 18 track, 18 air temperature, overcast, like the absolute optimal conditions.
Yeah, and some people, they like that. Some people want to go out and do test drives and hot laps and go for the fastest times and try and be up there on the leaderboard, but at the end of the day, that's not what wins races. You've got to be able to handle all track conditions.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to hear how many people kind of just avoid wet sessions altogether, and I don't know if that's because they know it's going to affect their safety rating through spins and contact and things like that. But yeah, I think for me, I've always enjoyed racing in the wet.
I think there's only 2 words for that, and that is skill issue. If you're seeing a race and it has a rain percentage chance, don't back out of it. You know, come on, get in there, learn how to drive it.
Yeah, exactly. Just give me 2 seconds. Just grabbing a drink.
I have got the cider out for this race.
That is a spot on shout, I'll be honest, especially come Friday.
Yeah.
So yeah, we are just jumping into quali now, so we've got the 15-minute timer ticking away. Already a minute into it as we start seeing the drivers coming out the pits, down the pit exit to hopefully start generating some heat into the tyres, ready for the qualifying laps that they get. I think they'll get about 4 or 5 qualifying laps. The big challenge, obviously, in an open qualifying session is traffic management. Trying to find that clean spot, maybe a bit of clean air, or maybe you're even trying to look for the slipstream. I mean, how much do you think the slipstream and draft is actually going to help?
That run through the S's up into the butt stop, that can be 2-3 tenths. Well, maybe not 2-3 tenths. It could be maybe 2 tenths. So yeah, it's definitely a factor. It's just then whether you're going to be able to overtake the car you're getting a draft from, or are they going to be giving you dirty air through the rest of the track? You never know. If there's some people who are quite friendly together there, or they're in a voice chat, maybe a bit of team play going on.
Yeah, I think at these sort of levels of racing, where it is sort of just an open hosted session, I probably think it's unlikely that you'll see that level of
yeah, it's kind of every man for
of
themselves.
teamwork going on. But yeah,
we can dream.
Yeah, I think that would be a very good strategy. Come actually starting to host leagues and things going forwards in the future. Ooh, as we do watch Charlie O'Kane get very loose on the rear end.
Yeah, just
on
took
cold
way
tyres.
too much in that curve and lifted the car off up into the air. And when he landed, it just snapped. At least he keeps it up the barrier. You know, tyres might be a bit worse for wear, but I think he's going to keep going.
I think that's the thing. If you don't come out early, you're almost sort of in that tyre warm-up phase, driving slowly, trying to generate heat whilst you've got all of the other traffic with warmed up tyres. So I think unless you do sort of severe damage to the car, it's not worth going back to the pits.
Yeah, probably not. I think it's worth him staying out. So we're starting to see most of the pack kind of coming through turn 7, 8 and 9 now, coming up to the end of the lap, so we'll start seeing some times on the board.
Yeah, I think that also
Promotion.
might play a factor into why we're not seeing these 42s coming through yet as well, is I'm pretty sure it's going to be very possible, even during the practice session, to try and find a gap where you're not necessarily driving at 100% due to traffic, and that might be causing you a few temps.
Yeah, I think this first lap as well, tyres are still not quite up to temp, so some people will still be struggling.
I mean, you've driven this track. How easy is it to sort of manage the tyres, get the tyres up to temperature? How did you find the strategy?
The only driving I've done on this track has been in quite high track temps, which is usually a case of the front left will start dying at some point. So not necessarily an issue of getting the tyres up to temp, but more of an issue of trying to keep them below the kind of maximum temperature ratings.
Yeah, so we are starting to see some of the times jumping onto the board, some of those early times. So we are seeing David Greenberg again at the top of the standards at the moment with a 1:43.5. That is 8, almost 9 tenths quicker than P2. Fernando Jaquez with a 1:44.4. But again, I think it's a similar sort of side to what we were seeing yesterday with the two Ferraris, 296s, topping the leaderboard at the moment.
Yeah, I think Ferrari is looking the strongest here at the moment. I've seen some people in McLaren as well, but I think McLaren's almost just taking a bit of time for people to realise it is a viable car again now. It was so bad for a long time. Like every track you'd go to, you'd see the Gary 61 times just saying McLaren was kind of near the bottom. Now with the BOP adjustments, plus it's not, you know, the top car. It's certainly a viable pick now, and it's quite a stable car as well, so quite easy to drive. Yeah, Ferrari definitely. I think at the moment we're in the Ferrari era, so we'll be seeing a lot of them around near the top.
And yeah, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like as well, I mean, I remember when I was sort of picking and choosing my first GT3 car to buy in McLaren as well, I sort of came from with ACC before the Lexus, in fact my love for the Lexus. But that McLaren as well, I remember sort of looking at what you could actually race that in, and I seem to remember there being a series, I can't remember if it was NEC or something or other, but there was a GT3 series that you couldn't run the McLaren in.
I think it may not be an NEC, which probably should be updated, but they're kind of, iRacing has a maximum limit on the amount of different cars you can put in, so they always have to remove something from NEC. And McLaren wasn't running any cars in real life at the NEC, so they removed it, but McLaren actually is running at the NEC now. And the N24 they ran this year. They didn't do very well, but they were there, so it'd be nice to see it back then.
Yeah, I think it's one of those where a good replacement would be, I'd probably say something like the R8. I feel like I rarely see people driving the R8.
I think that's mainly because the R8 isn't allowed in IMSA anymore. It is allowed in the GT sprints and the GT endurance challenges, but not in IMSA because R8 is not used in the real life IMSA anymore.
So we are going to quickly just jump on board with Lou Greenwald, who looks to be on a flyer. He does jump up to P3 with a 43.9. So we've got 3 drivers now into the 143s. Jens also almost a second quicker this lap at the moment, 1.3 seconds quicker. Previous time was 1:45.9 as he comes across out through the last corner and across the line. Let's see where that places him. So me a 1:44.7, so yeah, 1.4 seconds quicker like that. Who else is going quicker? David Greenberg is going quicker, 0.7 seconds quicker this lap.
Could be on for 42 then.
He's still only in the second sector at the moment. Again, Louis Grudon as well, going quicker, 0.7 quicker this lap. David Greenberg almost a second quicker now, 0.8 up. As we do ride on board with them. So last sectors always catches people out. Some late aim boxes don't turn into early or
Yeah, track off the way with you there as well. Ends up causing a lot of understeer or oversteer on the exit as the elevation changes.
Watch David Greenberg across the line. It's previous, so yeah, 1.35 up to a 1.31, so set exactly the same time that he set in the practice session.
He then blows turn 1 on his next lap, so a bit of a cool down lap for him now, as that off track hasn't validated it. But, you know, he's got a bit of a healthy lead now. Got Fabian Schulte, who I don't believe he's really set a representative time yet, considering he's a 6K iRacing driver. He is in the Mustang. I'm not sure whether it is the optimum car here, so we'll see how that goes for him.
So we've got a whole bunch of traffic towards sort of midfield section here, bunched up, trying to do qualies. Could get quite interesting.
Yeah, a bit of the, like I said before, iRacing drivers not being familiar with how to actually get good spacing in an open qualifying session. Bit of a lost art, I think.
Yeah, I think Paul Lilly's just trying to create himself some space before opening it up. Maybe he's looking for that draft.
As we do have two cars crashing into each other at turn 7. That's Mark Schweining and Yuheng Shi? Something? I'm butchering that pronunciation. Let's take a look at what happened here.
Just for
Both
yeah,
cars
this is
racing each other.
missing the rear end of his car. That Yueng is.
Yeah.
The amount of the radiator's popping out the back. Just a heads up for yourself, by the way. If you are spotting an incident, if you try and call the name first, if you catch it, and then I can essentially get the cameras on.
Yeah, I tried to, but it happened quite a while ago. I just saw the end of it. But on that replay, in terms of race control, I don't know, racing incident, I'm going to say. You can argue that they shouldn't be racing, but you know, qualifying's qualifying. They need to figure out how to get some space, and they're both just trying to go side by side into a corner and end up running into each other. One person tries to take a tight line, one person takes a wide line, and they just drove into each other.
I think that kind of goes back to what you said about experience with these type of format races, finding that space to be able to set a decent qualifying lap without having the need to manage traffic and getting each other's way.
Yeah, it adds another aspect to it, which I think iRacing is missing. Qualifying in real life, it's such a different beast. It's not just go set your fastest lap, it's you've got to do all the tyre preparation, take count of the cars around you, make sure you find your gap, work in whether you can try get a slipstream instead of just going and having 2 laps and just trying to set the fastest lap.
Yeah, I think I sort of get it from a sort of trying to hold that sort of safety aspect of qualifying. I think if iRacing are going for full realism, I think open qualifying is definitely the format to go. But obviously, yeah, you do run the risks of crashes and incidents.
Maybe some of the endurance series having a bit of a longer qualifying session.
Yeah, think what would be really cool as well is if iRacing was to introduce like multi-day events as well, so you physically turn up for practice on a day, you do quali on the next day, and you race on the third day. And I think like they could introduce something there where you can kind of gain a lot of iRating, or even introduce maybe like a whole new sort of level of rating to get, and that is like that sort of more realistic side of racing.
Yeah, definitely some things that they could look into.
Charlie, cheers for sharing the live, mate. We are also over on Twitch as well and YouTube, if you want to go and follow over there. Unless I'm being pinned on Discord at the moment. Just make sure that's nothing that needs to be looked at. Okay, so yeah, we're coming up to the last 20 seconds of this session. So let's have a quick chat to the drivers. How are we doing, everyone? We've got 20 seconds left of quali. We're going to be jumping into a 1 hour race. I'll give you the same briefing that I gave about 30 minutes ago. So it's a 60-minute race with limited fuel. So there will be a mandatory pit stop. We will be calling safety cars, issuing black flags where necessary as well. There is unlimited fast repairs. So if you do get damage, you can jump into the pits. Safety cars will be called out. You'll be given wave bys so you can rejoin the back of the pack. And not lose too much time. All we ask is obviously you try to race clean, try to race fair. The session is also being broadcasted over on the Refined Motorsport social channels as well. But yeah, enjoy the race, guys. And if you do have any issues with other drivers, either voice it up on comms or put it into the chat of the session. And race control will observe, look, and come to an outcome where necessary. But yeah, enjoy the race, guys, and thanks all for taking part. So we have got that 1 minute 30 cooldown timer before people start gridding up. If we look at the top 10 drivers at the moment, so we've got David Greenberg at the top, taking that P1 spot with a 142. So we did see somebody get into the 142s, which is the first that we have seen over the 2 days that we've been broadcasting this. That's a 142.935 from David Greenberg, who is a 4.3k iRating driver in the Ferrari 296. Followed by Fabian Schluter, who's at a 43.5. Luis Grulon with a 43.5. Fernando Jaquez with a 43.7. Jose Barahona with a 43.8. Michael Plett with a 43.8. Jens van der Wilt with a 43.9. So top 7 drivers all into the 143s. Yuheng Hai. I'm not even going to butcher that name. We're going to call him Yueng from now on. 144.3, followed by Jean Dietz with a 44.4, and rounding out P10 with Yun Yi Ho with a 44.5. Rest of the field sort of backing up all the way back down to the 49. Still got a couple of drivers that didn't set times, but it looks like we've got 20 drivers at least that should be taking part in this session. Which is a little less than what we had yesterday, but hopefully makes for some good coverage, good racing, and an interesting race. Here to see a bit of Paul Lilly this evening. Yeah, I've seen him in and around TikTok a bunch. I think on George's streams. I think he's popped into mine a couple of times. But yeah, really nice to see him on the grid for this session. Already people in chat supporting their drivers.
Always good to see.
Yep, so we are seeing the cars jumping onto the grid. We should be going for our lap in about a minute's time at most. I don't think we're going to have any pit lane starters at the moment. This is going to be your first race on this track. Monkey Swagger, that's Nicholas. Where's Nicholas in the session? Nicholas Balderrama, P14 in the Porsche 911 GT3R. So nicely packed into the midfield there. So yeah, we have 23, 25, so 22 cars on the grid at the moment.
Yeah, a bit less than yesterday's session. See whether that makes it a bit more safe driving. I have a feeling we're still going to be seeing some carnage, but let's see how it goes.
So just a reminder all, there is, like I say, fast repairs. If you do end up in a wall early on into the race, it does not mean it's over. We saw some drivers yesterday on the session that we ran yesterday, coming from P14, P16, all the way up into the top 5, which made some really interesting comebacks. So yeah, don't worry about damage too much. We'll be bringing out safety cars, yellow flags, and all that jazz as well.
Keep it clean on the formation lap phase. I don't really want to have to be looking at people crashing into each other. No, give each other room to do their tyre warming.
So yeah, I will switch to after the race start, single file. I was meant to set it on the session start as well, but actually no, we don't want it on the session start, do we? No,
Yeah, not on the session start.
Yep.
Double file, let's get a bit of carnage for the start.
I think after we watched Wolfgang's performance yesterday, I think the strategy from him was basically coming out the last corner just to send it as soon as the pace car dives into the pits, and I think he was up almost a second and a half within the first lap. But again, top level driver, I think he was what, 6k, 4.5k, something around there.
Yeah, once you get enough starts in IMSA and GT series, you kind of realise when you're leading, it's a really big advantage in the way iRacing does its starts. You don't have to wait for the green to go, you pick when you go. And if you do it right, you really catch people napping, get a nice gap.
Where's Charlie O'Kane? Charlie O'Kane currently P16. I'll be honest, him probably one of the best looking Ferrari crews. Anyone that knows me, I'm a sucker for the that sort of fluorescent yellow colour. I think it does look fantastic. It's grey as well. So yep, seen a lot of tyre warm up as we look down to the front to the back of the pack.
Working.
So far, I think looking at this formation plan, unlike yesterday, people are not crashing into each other, which is pretty good.
Yeah, it's got to have been your pre-warning, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Or the lack of 800 I-rated drivers and 500 I-rated drivers.
Possibly that as well. I did see one check-up where there was almost a crash, but
Yeah.
they managed to avoid
Good
it.
luck all, have fun. So, David has just backed off a little bit as we allow the pace car to dive into the pits as they all side by side, and David does get the jump on Fabian Schluter. Already created about 2 car lengths there as we go into turn 1. looking back down the field, we've got P3 and P4 almost side by side into turn 1. Everything's looking fairly clean. Yon has
looking
sprung
clean.
at the back. I don't know if you caught what happened there from John
Yi Ho. 3 into 1, didn't really go.
Racing incident. Oh, big crash at the back. Big crash at the back.
I don't know where to go.
And that is
And that is a yellow flag. I don't know if you saw what happened at the back there.
no. I was judging the turn 1 incident, which is a racing incident. But yeah, this is what I was saying about yesterday in the S's. It could end in tears,
Yep.
and it looks like this one definitely did.
So hold a second. So yellow flag, guys. Yellow flag. We're investigating the incident that happened on turn 3 at the back of the field. Did you see what happened at the back?
Yep, I am looking now. So, how would you pronounce his name? Abdelkader and Vincent Yara were the ones who started that.
Just feel free to issue a penalty where needed.
Yeah, Abdelkader did kind of come across like Vincent wasn't there. Vincent only had his nose in, but I think the room was required at that point.
What do we do about 3 minutes worth of towing?
You'll get away from it. And then, yeah, he just bounced off the wall, and that ends up causing the pile-up.
Are we issuing flags? And just a quick one, yeah, for Matt Skits in the chat. This is something that we were thinking about doing. We didn't get a chance to set it up today. But we was going to basically share Jacob's broadcast into the stream as well, so we could sort of track replays as well. But I think that'll be something that we do for the next one, hopefully.
For the lap 1 incident, Abdelkader, you had a car on your inside, you turned like he wasn't there. I am going to give incident responsibility to you, I'm afraid, so you will be getting a drive-through after the restart.
So yeah, we've got 2 cars with the meatball flag at the moment. Justin Claessens and Andreas Malik, who are currently towing to the pit. Yeah, I think you were a little quiet on radio there, by the way.
Can everyone hear me? Alright.
Yeah, that's better. I think they were just wondering who was getting the penalty.
It was Abdelkader.
So yeah, not much change up at the front of the field. David Greenberg still managed to hold P1 during the first sort of 3/4 of the lap. Fabian Schluter, Lewis Grulon and Jose Barahona. Again, same starting positions. I think whoever was running P4, Fernando Jaquez, has dropped from P4 down to P17. Not sure what happened to him.
He is in the pits on a tow. I'm not sure what has happened to him. Let's take a look.
So there's no legal flag against him.
I think he may have disconnected.
Okay, cool. If we can keep an eye on who's in the pits and when they come out. Yeah, I think what we'll try and do is we'll have a rewatch of. If I can just skip back to lap 1. Which doesn't seem to be allowing me to, which is interesting. I think it'd be interesting to see what actually happened. But there we are. I think replays are definitely needed for this sort of stream. Okay, how long have we got on towing time?
So a lot of the cars now who were towing are exiting the pits.
Okay, if we can find out who they are, and then we can do the wave rounds, and then hopefully get the race back underway.
Yep, we'll wait, I think, until everyone comes out the pits and figure out where everyone's at. Did we want to try that overall wave round command?
I don't think it works. It has
We
to
have to
be
wave
just
round
a
everyone.
try. It doesn't. It's not content aware of what lap sort of people are on. It only knows in context of the length of the line behind the safety car.
Okay.
Which
So
I'm guessing
we'll wait a
is
second
like,
just for everyone to come out the pits, and then I can figure out what's going on.
yeah.
So it'll probably be at the end of the next piece of lap. So when they come across the line again, I will know who to wave around.
Well,
And
we
then
know that Andreas and bear with me, so we can wave around Andreas. He can get the wave around if you can do him. Andreas Malik Schwartz.
One second, I'm looking at it. Because we have to do it based on who is out first, and Andreas is still in the pits.
Okay, then it'll be
So Abdel Kader first,
yeah.
who will be getting a penalty at some point, but I'll do that later. Wave rounds are now in effect. Please be mindful of cars unlapping themselves. Try and go single file, please.
Can I get away from
Yeah, it's coming.
Thank you.
So wave around traffic is passing on the right hand side. Cars behind the safety car can just stay left, just while the traffic is able to unlap themselves. Is Andreas still in the pits? Is he?
Yeah, I have a feeling he may be
Oh
coming
no,
back up.
he's coming back up. He's literally on his way out of the pits now. We're going green next lap.
Yeah, wait for the pace car to cross the line, then we should be able to go green for the next lap.
¿En serio, tío? ¿Otra vuelta más? ¡Qué desesperación!
No idea what he's saying.
No clue.
We're bringing the safety car in, or if we've got any more wave rounds to do.
El que se muera, que se vaya.
I just need to check Andreas. Wait, I don't know if he's going to be catching in time.
He will.
Actually, where is he gone?
Andreas, he's currently.
He's disconnected.
Oh, okay, cool. Right, we'll bring the safety car in this lap, yeah?
Yep.
No safety car, please. No safety car.
Safety car is in this lap. As we do start to see the front runners back at it again, warming up the tyres, ready for the restart. Just keeping an eye on the front two drivers at the moment. They seem to be getting very close to each other through the sort of weaving and braking. They almost collided on the previous pace car lap.
Did you set restart to single file? Ah, well, we'll have some carnage then, that's fine.
Let's restart single file. I've said it's single file. Single file restart, safety car in this lap.
Please be careful. The cars who have to wave around when you're catching the back. I don't want to see anyone like yesterday driving into the back of the safety car queue at 150 miles an hour.
So, yeah, the unlapping traffic is coming up, so car 15, let's just keep an eye on him. Car 17 was as he joins the back of the pack. Paul Liley and Fernando Jaquez as well. Should catch the back of the field. They're obviously going to have warmer tyres because of these sort of push laps that they've just been doing to catch the back of the field.
That feels like the F1 movie strategy.
Oh,
And
as
someone's
we've had enough. Who doesn't hold the brakes?
Charlie.
Okay.
Yeah. Good job, Charlie. Make sure you don't kill anyone. Just come in and do flat repair. Don't take any tyres.
Okay.
Or you take the other one.
Safety car goes in. We are back up on the green flags. David Greenberg again managed to pull away, creates that gap, 0.3 seconds already as we go down into turn 1. Fabian Schluter close behind. Seems nice ankling so far as Jens does make up the position. If they go too wide into turn 1 alongside Bjorn Dietz, who is still trying to fight him off it. Bjorn goes through, and I think Stephen Buki is also looking for it as well. Around the outside, I think it's more power than his Mustangs as Jens loses out 2 positions under the green flags here. We haven't had a spin from Jose Barajoa, or has hit the wall, if you want to review that one.
Yep, and we've also had Yonji Ho
Yep, there's a lot of
losing on the curb again.
Okay, let's just quickly take a look at what's going on. Can we look at Abdelkader?
Yeah.
I'd also like to, if you can, or get a chance, look at Michael O'Kane. He had another off.
And that is an unsafe rejoin from Jose taking out Abdelkader.
Okay, let's go. Black flag there then.
Jose, that was an egregious rejoin. It is a stop-go.
As we are on board with Paul Liley up in the McLaren there, I think Jose Barahona is looking to try, and he's lost it again. Jose might have the best of time since we're 5-year driver, and started P5, it's ended up at the back of the grid, but let's go take a look at what's going down up in P5 as we look on board with Bjorn Dietz and Yuheng as well, BMW and Mustangs there. The closest drivers on the track at the moment. Then still trying to snatch back that position from Stephen Buki. It does look like he gets the run on him. Jens trying to look for a move up the inside into bus stop. Will he get it done? I think Stephen does manage to stay ahead.
Now that bad run. Put him on the back foot with Fran looking for a move.
Fran had some incredible quiet pace coming out of that corner there. It looked like he was going to just snatch that away from Jens so easily, but yeah, I think it was just that camera perspective. So yeah, if we look on board with the front runners at the moment, so Fabian Schluter has taken P1, David Greenberg close behind, followed by Louis Brunel. Pretty much nose to tail as they come into sector 3. into the mirrors of David Greenberg, let him know he's there. Really throwing around that Ferrari though.
This top 4 pack really, they don't want to get separated. They're pulling away from the rest of the field, but they're all sticking together.
So yeah, just for everybody watching that doesn't see what we see, so the top 4 runners are all above 3.8k iRating, or 3.8k, most of them are 4k and 6k, which does separate them from the 2k drivers, which they've now created a 2.8 second gap over. So we see the Mustang just sort of off into the distance there, number 5. So currently lap 7 of possible 35 laps, with 3 minutes to go. We've had one safety car just after the restart, just to an instant coming into turn 3, which caused a 3-car pile-up. Some quite big damage, 2 cars getting the meatball flag. Everything's looked pretty clean, bar a couple of spins. Since the green flag, them spins are probably due to just lack of tyre temperature. We did spend 5-6 laps behind the safety car. A lot of the drivers eager to get underway.
Jose, with that penalty, has now come out a lap down, but in the middle of kind of this near front runner top 10 pack between the battle for P6 and P7. I think he has got some pace. He can maybe look at trying to start unlapping himself if he can keep it on the road, which it seems he may be struggling with.
Yeah, I think it maybe have been cold tyres. I know a lot of people struggle with the sort of handling on the Mustang. Whether he's jumping it for the first time, I doubt it. He's pretty nice if you got that car. Yeah, I think someone's in the chat's asking where Charlie O'Kane is. Currently running P19 after starting P16 on the grid, so he's dropped 3 places. He's currently 34 seconds back. Has made 1 pit stop already.
Yeah, he spun it under the safety car, put it in the wall. Not his finest moment there, just trying to warm the tyres. Coming up to the safety car restart, he just put it in the wall. Luckily he didn't collect anyone else on that restart, else I would have been going in there with a big, heavy drive-through or stop-go hammer.
Slap him in the face with the flag itself. As we are on board with Fran Sandoval, who has just made it past Stephen Buki. Jens, I think, lacking a little bit of pace here to keep up with these Mustangs.
Yeah, the Mustangs really have some good straight line speed here. What was it? Dive bomb there.
Which was
Jose trying to unlap himself, so just trying to move his way back through the field to get to the front of the pack. Do that, then it means he doesn't have to rely on a wave round on a safety car, so it is quite important if he wants to get back into this race. As we have someone spinning off.
David Greenberg. That was David Greenberg. That was the P2 runner of David Greenberg. We will just back up the race here a second, just see what happened here.
So he
it looks
lost
like
his rear end.
Losing the rear wing as he went into this. So
yeah.
I'm kind of interested to see if you can go back a little bit further, Jim, and find out how he managed to lose that rear wing.
I am checking. And that is as Michael Pletty runs into the back of him. He loses the rear end of his car and then goes into the next corner. Doesn't realise he's missing the rear wing.
Big accident. P1.
Fabian
Schluter has just been taken out of the race here. I think that's a really hard one to tell. I'm just trying to look at what we have going on here, maybe from a different angle. I think maybe just it wasn't given enough space. I'm going to quickly take a look from the chase camera. And again, I think Fabian Schluter, that's his own doing there, just kind of turns in, leaves him no space on the entry of that.
So I am thinking Michael Petty there. He drove into the back of David Greenberg on braking, trying to go for a move, but the gap really wasn't there. Gave him damage. And that is Fabian into the pits. From a race control perspective, I am saying Michael Petty, whilst it wasn't an egregious move, that is a drive-through penalty.
Okay, I'll leave you to issue that one. Just having a look at who's involved with
Michael Petty, unfortunately, driving into the back and taking off his rear wing. That is instant responsibility on you. So, right.
So we just investigated the issue between cars 18 of Louis Grulon and the car of Fabian Schluter, car number 5. We've deemed that a racing incident. I think Fabian turned in on Louis Grulon into bus stop there. And yeah, the guy who turned in came off worse, inevitably than the car who's now running the pack, Louis Grulon in a Ferrari 296.
Michael Petty in the chat doesn't seem too happy with the fact he's been given a penalty, but you know, you drive into the back of someone, took off his rear wing. Unfortunately, that is the drive-through. I think realistically, you know, there's likely going to be another safety car at some point in this race. It's not the end of his race. He just needs to get on with it. Does inherit the lead now for Louis Grulon.
Cyber Racer, yes, I'm assuming you're David Greenberg, mate. So yeah, Louis Grulon did get a penalty. He will be serving. Sorry, Michael Pletzel will be getting a penalty. He will need to serve that within 2 weeks. Fabian also kind of had an incident with P11. I'll be honest, Fabian sort of did turn in on Louis Grulon into bus stop, and then ultimately they came together and he lost the rear end. So therefore, so Louis Grulon taking P1 up in this race. But it's still very close up the front. 0.3 seconds between Michael Pletzel and Louis Grulon. We do know Michael Pletzel is going to be serving that penalty, which will give Louis Grulon about 3.7 seconds lead over beyond Jean Dietz in P3. As there is a close battle up in the top 5. 4 cars fighting for P5 here. France, Sando, Logistic Classics, then Swan, Jacques.
They're going side by side into turn 8. He's sending the move. He's leaving him room on the exit. Still side by side. Don't think round the outside is going to work there for Jens. Can he get a switch back? He is actually trying to lap Jose. So GT3 racing, we're not enforcing blue flags. You don't have to get out of the way. Traffic is traffic. As Jens gets onto the grass there, loses the back end of it, and that just drops him off the back of Jose.
You do see a Mustang in the distance on that TV camera, clatter the wall coming out the last corner. Yeah,
now we have Fran and Justin side by side, still coming into the bus stop. That Mustang's really got some legs here over McLaren. I think that might just allow him to edge out a bit of a gap going into the bus stop. Can he beat him on the brakes? Fran gets through in the bus stop, and another incident for Jose, taking a bit of an opportunistic move there. Bit of netcode, but also a bit opportunistic, trying to unlap himself. Yeah, that's on him. Not a great race. An interesting reason as well. He was lucky not to get that next one
as we do watch Fran just bump into the back of Justin. And Fran wanted him to, nudging him around the apex there, as now Jens gets the run on Fran's angle. I don't think that line's really working out for him, but he does go. He does look for the inside line here instead. We saw on the last lap trying to go around the outside, didn't work out for him. Obviously, Cyber Racer as well, thanks for the follow over on the Purple channel, much appreciated. Welcome to the stream, welcome to the race. We are planning on doing a lot more of these. If you are interested in participating, come and join the Discord. The link for that is in the bio on all the streaming platforms. You can come say hi, post and share any of the hosted events that we're going to be running, which is going to be definitely a lot more often, seeing as I won't be able to race for next week for a period of time. So, yeah, come and take part in the hosted race.
Jens getting put a bit on the back foot by trying to move into that last corner, and now Fernando looking to move as Jens squeeze him, but Fernando goes onto the grass to get side by side, sends the move up the inside, and nothing really Jens could do about that.
Yeah, I think Jens is in one of these positions where he's trying to prove himself as a driver, and you can tell that he really wants to sort of make these passes, but every time he sort of hesitates, doesn't quite go for it, he loses out on the exits and just gets swallowed up by the car behind. So every time he makes a position, I think 7's his lucky number, running car 7, been sat P7 throughout all of this overtaking.
Yeah, it seems he was just kind of looking for move in every corner on Fran, like as he went into turn 8, got side by side, couldn't make it stick, then he looked in turn 9, that lost him some more time. Then he looked again going into the last corner, lost him more time. That just puts him onto the back foot then. And I think possibly a bit of patience needed trying to wait for that opening instead of looking for the move constantly, as he does almost hit the wall there. Maybe a bit of frustration coming in there.
I mean, I'm not going to sit here and try and do a Dutch accent, but I know the exact words that are going through his head at the moment, and that is, "Come on, mate."
Yes. I think possibility now, if he's smart here, he can stick with Fernando. Fernando is obviously a very fast driver, he's 6.5 KI rating. You can try and stick with him in this fight. You might be able to follow him through on Fran. Fernando is looking now, he's got the slipstream. Fran holding the defensive line. Will Fernando be able to make the stick around the outside? No, as he backs out, maybe to try and get a bit of a switchback and a better run.
Yeah, I think some of these high-rated drivers are sort of aware that going too wide into bus stop never results in anything good. It's very hard to sort of hold and maintain close racing there, especially with the bouncing that you get coming over the inside curb and the exit curb into that long sweeping right-hander.
As I believe it needs to. Oh, I think he's just pitting. Unless he's got damage or something.
Was yours a stop and go? Was it a stop and go you had to serve? Or?
Oh yeah, it was a stop and go. I think he should serve it now. Oh no, I think he already served it. Oh, I think he served the drive-through instead of a stop and go, and then...
I mean, it comes up on their screen, so they're not going to...
Actually no, I only gave him a drive-through, and he served the drive-through, and now he's in the pits again. Actually, I think that's pit window.
Yeah,
I think that is the
30
pit
minutes
window.
into the race. Louis Grulon, 6.9 second lead over Jean Dietz. His front runners sort of just hot lapping, nothing interesting happening.
Fernando once again getting the run out of turn 1 on Fran, and is he going to be able to make a stick this time? Fran is really defending for his life. But Mustang has got some straight line speed, so as soon as Fernando jumps out of the track, he just stops moving and he can't get side by side. Once again, being forced to the outside. Can he get a better run through the bus stop? No, he can't. He gets checked up by Fran.
I think that's the thing going to the bus stop. Is it's so easy to hold that inside line because you don't really lose too much coming through bus stop. There's not much of a sort of need to get much rotation on the car to get through bus stops. You can be almost super close to the apex without losing too much time on the exit.
As we have a large incident once again, Jose in the bad books as he runs into the back of Vincent Yara, who is a lap ahead of him, taking him out.
Let's do drive through for Jose.
That is his second offence, so that is going to be a large penalty.
I'm sorry.
Jose, you're in my bad books again. Sorry, but penalty. Really not going well for Jose. That stop and go penalty will put him another lap down, which means even the wave round, I think at this point, is not going to be enough to bring him back into this race.
Which is a real shame considering he was starting on the P5 or at the beginning
Fernando
of this race.
comes into the pits, maybe looking at an undercut here. I believe Fran and Jens are still out, so yeah, I think Fernando looking for the undercut to try and jump Fran. He shouldn't really need to take any tyres in this race, so he should come out with warm tyres and hopefully be able to get a good outlap.
Yeah, so on board with Charlie O'Kane at the moment. A few people in chat, both over on TikTok and on the Purple channel, asking about Charlie O'Kane's progress throughout this race. Yeah, he's had a couple of spins. I think he had a spin under the safety car. He had a spin under the green flag at the restart. But he has managed to call his way back up through 4 positions. Now currently running P14. He is a lap down, so a safety car would be very ideal from him for him to actually make progress in this race.
Was that for the incident at the bus stop, Fabian? That was already team racing incident. He was on the curb. He could have been a bit more on the curb, but he was on the curb.
As we do jump on board as Jens and Fran jump into the pits, almost nose to tail, Jens pushing Fran down the pit lane. I think he was definitely looking for the exit there and then realised that they were both diving into the pits at the same time. I think it's going to be a case of who manages to get out of the pits first.
Because I turned in, so when I'm not there, he's absolutely not on the curb.
You okay to handle whatever's going on in the voice chat?
We've got a lot of stuff that we need to look at. We already looked at it, and it's a while ago. Unfortunately, that is just a racing incident. Yeah, Fabian not agreeing with our decision that it was a racing incident, which took him out of the fight for the lead, but I guess I am kind of just going to go with a bit of, you know, being power hungry, and I don't care.
I think that's the thing as well, like, you're always going to get people that are arguing with decisions. Ultimately, in an hour-long race, where it can take almost a lap to sort of investigate the issue, come to a decision and issue a penalty, the next thing's already happened. We can't be dawning on incidents for 30 minutes of the race, trying to figure out who is 100% at fault. Because somebody might have tapped somebody 3 corners previous to the actual incident itself, and it's kind of like, I think when it comes to race control, the decision just has to be final, and we just go with that.
Yep.
As Jens does get absolutely gapped in the pits by Fran. Fran Sandoval and Jens entered the pits at the same time. Jens has exited the pits, he's now 5 seconds behind.
He's taking tyres, hasn't he? Or he's taking too much fuel.
Yeah, I think 6 seconds is probably too short for tyres. I think it's usually about 10 or 12
Fran
seconds, right?
Hit into the wall, so that's got to bring him back into it. He's still going, but That was a hell of a tap on the wall. That's going to give him some damage.
So we do have a quick look at what's going on at the front. So we've got Castro at the lead at the moment. Still, he has made one pit stop this race, but I presume that he has to make another for his fuel stop, which would again put Louis back into the lead. Again, I think this is the field is pretty spread out after these pit stops, with not a lot really sort of going on. I think still got a couple of drivers in the pits at the moment. Nothing too crazy happening in terms of anything that would warrant a safety car at this point in time. I think a safety car would definitely make things interesting again.
Yeah, we've got to try and keep it a bit realistic. We've got to wait for someone to commit some crimes here before we throw a safety car. Especially, I think, for the leaders, sometimes the safety car actually ends up hindering them. And if they're out there driving a really nice, clean race, they don't want to be seeing safety cars for the sake of safety cars. So let's see what happens as the race develops. You know, pit cycles at the moment, so maybe some gap spreading out. People take different pit strategies, but it will probably all start to converge.
Yeah, we definitely don't want to be bringing back F1 2021 into the mix here.
Yeah, probably not.
They call me the Michael Massey of iRacing.
Still got some drivers really just ignoring that turn 1 track limit. Maybe we need to reduce the incident point count.
Yeah, I think it's a fine balance, because I think whilst the top drivers are probably just hitting 1x per lap,
The bottom drivers are hitting 4x per lap.
the bottom drivers are going to be probably quickly approaching that. I mean, if we take a look at some of the incident points on the grid at the moment, I mean, the person with the most incident points is currently Jose Barahona with 17 incident points.
Yeah, that tracks. He's been in the pits with some penalties a couple times now.
Which again is surprising from a 3.5k I-rate driver with 3.15 safety rating. But again, I think it just shows that these sort of mixed I-rating sessions can be a bit of a challenge. Maybe a bit of unpredictability coming in from some of the drivers. That's just unexpected from the high-rated drivers. As Castro does jump into the pits, Louis Roulin does jump back into the lead, getting comfortably ahead. How Justin Claessens is closing the gap. He is only 3.1 seconds behind. Just that reduced now down to 2.2. As Fernando Jaquez again trying to still make up these positions that he lost early on in the race. Closing the gap behind Ewing. Thought he was going to go for a lunge down into turn 1, but chooses to instead take the off track, go wide. I don't know whether that's a strategy, just so we can get a better run coming around 2 and 3 towards bus stop. I think he's sort of in that position. He's happy to take the penalty as Ewing does go defensive.
Ewing really not wanting to allow him through on any side there. He needs to be a bit careful. And either way, I think that was just a pace difference there.
Yeah.
Fernando finds the way through. He knew that Ewing was going to defend that entry into the bus stop, so he just backed out, got the run through it, and was smart. He knows he's faster. Why take a risk?
Yeah, I think from my own experience back in Daytona 24, sometimes just sort of letting the faster guy go through, using him to try and get a toe down the straights, try and match his lines, often sort of brings you yourself a couple of attempts in terms of pace, especially in race conditions. David Greenberg actually completely out of this race, even though we did have fast repairs, and he was only 2 corners away from the pit lane, and we did choose to leave the race, unfortunately. So that was David Greenberg starting P1 out of the race.
Trying to see how many runners we still have. 16 cars still on track.
17 cars.
One in the pits who has been there for a while, so
Yeah, it's
Fabian.
Schluter, yeah.
Who was not happy with our decision, but I'm fine with that. I ain't gonna cry.
Yeah, so I did review that decision. Going into the bus stop, they were too wide. Schluter sort of turned into the apex, straight over, almost pointing the car at the curbs. Got sort of tagged, left the guy on the inside, no space. Unfortunately, just came off worse himself.
Yeah, I think his argument is that you can run over that inside curb on the entry quite a lot, and maybe Louis could have gone over that curb a bit more, but
I mean, that's fine, but you're not going to be going over that curb if there's a car on your inside. There's also,
yeah,
I mean,
I think
at the end of the day, that car's entitled to as much track as he likes. Yeah. When you're alongside like that, it's not a case of he wasn't sticking up the inside, I don't think. It was a case of they were side by side, he's entitled to the same amount of track. Space.
Yeah, I think the argument of you should have been more over that curb is not necessarily that great an argument, especially when if you're expecting to be that close to the other car and forcing them onto the serrated curb. Even if they go onto that serrated curb, it's just putting them at big risk of bouncing off it and then killing you anyway. So, yeah, he should have left more room.
So, closest battle on track at the moment is currently actually P1 and P2, 0.6 seconds behind. Justin Glassens is actually closing that gap. He was 2.6 seconds behind 2 and a bit laps ago.
Yeah, he's really getting some pace in. His fastest lap 42.9, so I think one of the first people we've seen get into the 42s. McLaren's looking pretty strong here, which I am a fan of because I am a McLaren in iRacing. I just really fast.
You know what that sounds like, Jacob?
Well,
I won't say it. So closing the gap, 0.3. I know that we see a lot of sort of planned attacks coming onto the last corner to try and get the run down, start, finish straight into turn 1. What's Justin Glassens going to do here?
I think sometimes that move into turn 1 isn't worth it. You end up compromising yourself on the inside line, and that banking on the outside can really get you a good run. So yeah, he's sticking behind. Just needs to try and get that exit on turn 1 and then get in the slipstream up to the bus stop. Which I believe he's pretty firmly in it. We'll have to see how fast this McLaren is in a straight line. That gap is closing.
So coming down into bus stops is where we've seen a lot of the action happen. Let's see what happens here. Louis Grulon defending from Justin Glassens.
Justin chooses to fight another day there and try and get the other run through the bus stop. It does end up dropping back a bit.
I mean, you've spent some time driving both the Ferrari and the McLaren recently during your IMSA races. Which car would you pick as the go-to car here?
I think they're quite similar. McLaren, for me, I found it's a bit more stable in the corners, it's a bit nicer to drive and a bit more predictable. Ferrari has got a pretty good top end, a bit faster on the straights, and if you can get it right, it can be fast in the corners. It's more of like a neutral steer car, like you trail brake it in and try and neutral steer it and get the rotation on the brakes. To be honest, that is all dependent on setup. That might just be the setups that I'm running. Yeah, I like the McLaren just because it's comfortable to drive and it feels like you can push harder. but the Ferrari does have some good straight line speed, which is really going to be helping Louis here. I have to see whether that still is as much of a case since the latest BOP changes, which happened on Tuesday. A bit of the drag has been increased on the Ferrari, so might negate that.
So yes, we're still running on board with the two front runners. Again, I think it's that common saying is it's one thing to catch, it's another thing to pass. It's playing out here, just gaining almost a second a lap. Over the past sort of 3 previous laps, and he's just come from sat behind him, but he's looking for a very aggressive move as he's pushing him into the bus stop here.
I think he's bump drafting here, which I don't really know why. He's got a 20-second gap here. There's no need to try and pull away from any cars behind. He has room behind to try and make some moves here. Maybe he's scared of my drive-through hammer.
I mean, there's also that. I mean, you say about the 20-second gap, but that Fernando Jaquez, he was running down at P11. He fell down to the back, almost like the midfield during the start of the race, and has clawed his way back. So he's not a slow driver, and there is still 13 minutes of racing to go.
So I think for those who are looking for a second safety car, we are starting to get to the point where that safety car window closes, just to stop us having to finish under safety.
Yeah, I think sort of 12 minutes is the latest that we call that, unless there's anything absolutely severe. But I think it becomes a case if you bunch them up, you send them around for 1 lap and then you go.
I don't know what Michael Plenty is on about. I think that was an incident that happened a while ago. Michael, I believe you're on about the incident that happened a while ago. He lost it on his own because you drove into the back of him and took his rear wing off, if I'm thinking correctly. Oh, he's disconnected anyway. Well, if you don't agree, I don't care.
As we are back on board, P1, P2, side by side, going down into the bus stop. Justin Klassen's on the inside, almost wheel to wheel there. Justin Klassen does manage to take P1. Louis Grulon in the Ferrari 296 does lose out there, and I think, based on what we saw from Justin Klassen's pace, and again, I don't know how much of the tyres he's actually used here, but based on Justin Klassen's pace, in order to catch up with Grulon, is he going to walk away with this?
I think it's possible. We'll see whether the Ferrari can stay in the tow. For the people who were annoyed at the first incident not being deemed a penalty, Justin has just given a masterclass in how you actually do an overtake around the outside there. Louis was not all the way over the curb, you know, he could have been more over the curb, but Justin left the room, had the speed, and made that stick.
Yeah, I'm just kind of interested what happened to Fernando Jaquez. Again, dropped back from 3. He's now looks to be completely disconnected from the session, which is a shame because he was making progress.
I'm struggling to see an incident for Fernando.
Welcome in, George. How are we doing, mate? Race is still ongoing. We've got 10 minutes, or just approaching the 10 minutes go marker. We've got some interesting racing up at the front, as both Justin Klassen's in the 720S and Louis Grulon in the 296 both run wide into turn 1, picking up those off tracks. I think they're sort of realising now that they do have some of those incident points to use. We've got Justin Klassen sitting on 13 incident points and Louis Grulon sitting on 8, so yeah, maybe this is one where we do start reducing the amount of incident points and leniency that we give these drivers.
Looks like, unfortunately, Fernando has just had a disconnect.
So yeah, due to Jaquez leaving the race, Jens has made it up to P6 now, so in this position for free. But yeah, Jens is kind of sitting there in no man's land at the moment, 21 seconds behind, 4 seconds ahead. No one really to fight, but just hot lap, I think, for the last 10 minutes of the race.
I think we're now at that window where the field has thinned out a bit. How many drivers we've still got? 12, I believe, still running.
Abdicator violently flashing Nicholas Balderrama as they go down into turn 1. This is for position.
I'm going to keep an eye on this because I have seen Abdulkader cause some incidents before. Is he going to leave room? Oh, he left room this time. He didn't turn across the nose of Nicholas. He has learnt his lesson. See, my drive-through hammer trains people to be better drivers. He makes that move stick. Mustang, it's got some good straight line speed. You get that thing in the slipstream, it's got to get past.
So Justin Glassons is coming up to a little bit of traffic. There's 4 seconds now till the traffic. Again, traffic doesn't have to move under blue flags. But is this going to cause Glassons to lose some time and allow Grulon to potentially fight back and retake P1?
Jose Barahona has had a hell of a day as he loses it on the exit of turn 9, smashes it into the wall, spins it, and he is out of this race. He's had received, I believe, 2 penalties. Had some other incidents as well, considering he was starting quite close to the top of the grid. Not the best performance from him.
Yep, so one to be aware of is Castro, currently running P5 in the Mustang, currently running on 26 incident points, which affords him essentially one more piece of contact with another driver and gets immediately disqualified from the race. So I think he'll be definitely keeping an eye on over the last 7.5 minutes of the race.
If only this actually affected his safety rating, then he'd be in as much pain as I was yesterday.
And yeah, George, in answer to your question, I think we reduced the incidents under safety car. I think it was a lot cleaner under safety car with the I rating changes. Did set a 1200 limit on the I rating. And I'm potentially even thinking like 1500 maybe for the next one, but we'll see how it goes.
Paul Wiley, unfortunately, running P7 he has just spun and got some front end damage. Still got a 10-second gap to the car behind. We'll see whether that gap starts dropping. Not sure exactly how much damage he's going to sustain from that incident. Not ideal as we come into the last 6 minutes.
Welcome Race UK, how's things been with you? You are currently joining us as we're 6 minutes left at Watkins Glen for round 2 of the Refined Motorsport GT Open Sessions. We're going to be hopefully hosting another one on Sunday. Saturday's unlikely to happen due to the grid up race that's going to be going on tomorrow as well. Also, which I'll hopefully be participating in for my last race for quite some time because I'll be losing this wheel as it goes back off to Moser for some repairs, but I don't think you guys are interested in that. Yeah, aiming to put another session up on Sunday as well. May as well make the most of running these hosted sessions and doing something a little bit different on the stream. But yeah, yeah, for some reason gifts have been suspended, George. I think they think this is a pre-recorded stream, no idea why. I keep appealing it, but it doesn't go through, so it is what it is. Jens now catching up to Castro. Is it going to be one of these cases where Castro just gives Jens the position here, either because he's on the 26 incident points and he doesn't want to take them for, or because Jens is an overly aggressive driver as he goes side by side down into turn 1, and he does just sort of back off there and allow Jens to take that position. As he does grab another incident point, bringing him up to 27 incidents.
And that Mustang now with a slipstream. Let's see whether he might be able to try and get alongside Jens here. He's definitely taking some risk here with that DQ limit. As he darts to the inside. Sends it through and gets back past Jens. That's actually a pretty good move there. He kind of faked Jens over, I think, to the inside, to the outside, and then darted back to the inside. As he then does get a bad run out of the bus stop. Jens sends the move. Oh, that was close.
Definitely looking for it. I think this is what I'm actually kind of hoping to see from Jens, is a little bit more aggression. From what I've seen throughout this race, and from how I've seen him race previously, like I'm expecting to see a little bit more aggression here, a little bit more defensive driving, a little bit more aggressive driving where needed. But he seems to be sort of almost getting walked over in this race, as he does fake the inside, goes around the outside as they're too wide, but again, just he can't make it stick.
As he's getting angry on the radio, he sends up the inside there and does get through. As Castro goes for the switchback, Jens goes to defend.
Yeah, I'm just making sure that we're not doing double moves here. As the Mustang goes around the outside, he's going to take another. No, he doesn't get an off track there, but it's very close to an off track for the Mustang.
Pretty hard racing there.
Points.
But
Wilkes like he's moaning already. Typical Jens. we wouldn't expect anything less, Wilkesy, mate.
Yeah, bit of rubbing there, bit of contact, but nothing too major. All's fair in love and war.
You know what they say.
As
Robin's racing.
yeah. Now Jens actually pull that gap a bit now. And that
That's
Mustang
insane.
slipstream.
They feel like Max moaning when someone fights back.
I think everything was on there. That was
That Mustang
good race.
really attacking the curb, getting launched
He's
into
had a
the
really
air.
good run there. But he always takes this tight line then on the corner after the bus stop, and it just loses him this run.
Yeah, Kasha behind 0.4 seconds. Kasha has picked up another instant point. He's on 28 instant points.
2 minutes left. Is he gonna be able to make it through this without getting a disqualification?
So I don't think we're quite on the white flag, so we're looking at this lap plus one more for the white flag. Louis Grulon now coming off into the distance. I'm not actually sure what happened to Claessens.
I think
who
Klassen must have had an incident.
who was running this race. I think we're so focused on Jens with that.
Well, this is interesting. Because of the lack of safety car, Justin has had to pit and take that splash to get to the end of the race.
I'm kind of interested to see how many people are actually sort of keeping an eye on their fuel level. I mean, talking from experience this year at Nürburgring, not keeping an eye on that fuel level, going out around the Nürburgring, and obviously the 14-kilometre track. It's not really a place you wanna run out of fuel. But yeah, that did happen to me at the LMP2 this year.
Unfortunately, Justin has given up. He's realised the race win is off. As he runs out of fuel, he has pitted. And is out of the fight for this race. Jens has pulled a pretty good gap on Castro now. So I think Castro just needs to bring it home to the end now with no more incident points.
Yeah, as we again jump back on board with Louis Grulon, who is being waved the white flag. This is the last lap of the race. Yuang is so far back that I don't think it really matters what happens to Grulon now. He'd have to have a serious incident for him to lose this race. 28 seconds ahead of Yuang.
We'll have to see how it goes though, because you know we've got Louis getting this extra lap, going a bit longer than the hour. Are we going to see some people running out of fuel here? Maybe some people making some errors with the fuel calculator.
And again, I think as well, having that safety car out for 6 laps can also affect your estimated fuel, because obviously under safety car you're using less fuel. Your fuel calculator just basically works on a rolling average. So when your fuel starts dropping and then you go racing again, what the prediction might increase by a recommended 2 or 3 litres by the time you actually get back up to race pace. I've noticed that happen a few times. So Charlie O'Kane running down in P10 at the moment, lap down, 2 seconds behind Nicholas Valderrama. Again, Charlie not having the best of the races. Had a couple of spins this race, one under safety car, one under the second time green flag. As Louis Groulon takes the checkered flag, and out of the running cars at the moment, currently best time of 1:43.2. Ewing Sai is currently 28 seconds back. Again, coming through the final corner, takes that P2 position, followed by Fran Sandoval in P3, 3.1 seconds behind. Jens making up 3 positions from his P7 race start to finish P4th, followed by Joel Castro, start P23, finishes P5, so again, really great race from Castro. Does bring that over 29 incident points, which is definitely pushing the limit.
You gave him 30 to work with, he used 29. That is called maximising your race.
100% Paul Liley, regular on the Epix Bandit streams, comes home to bring this in P6, 39 seconds behind P5. So I'm not quite there in terms of lap times, the 1:45.1, but I think that's a fantastic effort for a 1.3k I-rated driver.
Yeah, I think there was some good racing there. I think they seemed to settle down when they realised I was going to use the ban hammer, or the drive-through hammer, which was good to see. We saw some good racing. Jens pulling out some good moves at the end of it against Castro. Castro really defending hard, and it was a lot better than what we saw from him at the start of the race, where he's kind of sending these half moves and ended up just pushing him back down the field and opening up for being overtaken by the cars behind, and then getting a bit more aggressive with Castro, but making it stick. Nothing, dangerous. And I think Castro possibly over defending a bit just opened up the door.
Yeah, I think my sort of thoughts on the Jens fights there was, I mean, this is the first time I've really properly sort of watched him go toe to toe with other drivers. I think last time I saw that was sort of the last stint at the Nürburgring 24, which was pretty spaced out grid. But yeah, to see actual racecraft from Jens, really good to see. Quite enjoyed watching that battle.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. He just needs to do that in the official races, and he'll be able to get a license.
And he keeps telling us he's trying, but I don't think he's trying hard enough. Because yeah, we know he's got we know he's got the pace. I think he just needs to put the time in the sim.
Well, he's got his safety rating for the end of season promotion next week, so he will be joining us in IMSA. Possibly be scared for that, but yeah, I'm sure it'll be fun.
Yep, unfortunate about the sort of top 4 runners, that sort of ended up in a bit of a 4-way clash there. Obviously, we did our best to sort of steward the race based on what we saw. I mean, there's only 2 of us, there's 30 of you. We do our best to try and keep an eye on what's going on track, but sometimes it's hard to sort of see everything, make decisions, and continue monitoring the race with just 2 people. Yeah, like I say, I think we did our best. But yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything more to add from my side regarding the race. You got anything to add, Jacob, or?
No, yeah, it's some good racing. I think possibly some people getting caught out thinking there was going to be another safety car, but everyone kind of settled down after that restart.
Yeah. So, yeah, just to sort of round things off then. So yeah, I'm going to be trying to do a few more of these broadcasted streams. I'm currently working on a new bit of kit to sort of aid with the broadcasts as well. So anything that sort of improves things. Granted, my commentary's not been fantastic. This is kind of my second time trying this sort of thing out. It's something a little bit new, but I'm quite enjoying it anyway. I'm quite enjoying watching the racing. For those that watch my streams usually, I'm not going to be racing as much for I think the next couple of weeks whilst I'm waiting for some hardware repairs to happen regarding some of the equipment I have. So yeah, I'm going to be trying to throw up some more of these hosted events, broadcasted sessions, commentaries and things like that. See how they go. So any sort of suggestions and improvements, that would go a long way. I know there's still a lot of you still in the Discord at the moment. If you want to come and sorry, a lot of you that's still in Twitch, if you want to come join the Discord, the link is in the bio. If you do !Discord as well inside of Twitch, you will be sent the link. You can come and join us in there. We'll be sharing any of the upcoming hosted events that are planned inside of there. Again, they'll all be broadcasted and shared. If you've not dropped me a follow, that also goes a long way. Twitch is very sort of slow progress to kind of gain any traction. So yeah, any sort of following on Twitch really goes the extra sort of mile. So if the 8 of you that are in here, sort of finalising off the stream, if you could drop me a follow, that'd be awesome. And also don't forget to follow BurnoutRacing7, who has been co-hosting this session with me, who's been the other voice that you've been hearing on this broadcast. But anyway, I'm going to round off there. That's it from me until the next one, guys. See you all later.